Hey duckies, Andi here, back with another LioranBoard video, and you guys wanted to know how to create queues. So if you had multiple channel points that they won't basically happen all at the same time, you can spread them out and they'll happen one after another. Or if you've just got different commands or just alerts like I've done with the recent alert system, well, this is how to do a queue system. Basically, there are a million ways of doing it. Not every way, as long as it works, that's fine, right? But this is the way that I find really easy to understand, and it allows you to edit it really easy as well by not putting a load of commands in one go. So enough of me talking about it, let's get on with it. Put your rock over the stone, let's go. Right, so I'm going to break this down as much as I can for you guys to understand. I am also going to give you the config file that I've created in LioranBoard, so you can just download it, and then you can go through the command system as much as you want and keep looking through it, or even just adapt it so you can use it however you want to use it. So let's take a look in my OBS what I've set up in here beforehand. So as you can see on the left, I've created some channel point rewards. 1, 2, they're not in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And basically, they're going to just turn on and off these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 text sources that you can see here in OBS. So I'm just going to turn them all off for now, as you can see, and I can go into LioranBoard. So in LioranBoard, this is the deck that you'll be able to download. It's completely free. It's on my Discord. The link's in the description. I'm going to open that up, and I've created it like this. And this is basically to help you understand. So the way that this is going to work is these top 6 just here are basically going to be the triggers from Twitch. So these are the actual channel point triggers. So channel point 1 is this trigger. So if I right click on this button and go down to Twitch triggers, you can see test 1. Which you can see down in this corner just here, test 1. When that's activated, that is going to activate that button there. And right now it doesn't do anything because I'm going to code that as we do it basically in this video. But what we want it to do is move on to this queue system. So see this kind of like a funnel. So channel point 1 to channel point 6 are all gonna basically, anytime they get activated, go into this queue system just here. And then after it's come through the queue system, it's gonna process everything correctly, and I'll show you how that command works when we build it. It will then be processed out to whichever action it needs to take. And it might look a little bit confusing, but the reason why I do this is because if I want to change my say channel point 1 and go, I don't really want that to happen anymore, I can just edit the command in here. So if I go to the edit command, this is basically going to change the visibility of channel point 1 to true. 2 seconds later, turn the visibility from channel point 1 to false. So what we want to happen is when I use that test 1 just here, this is going to activate, go through the queue system, make sure there's nothing else in the queue system, and then action channel point 1, which will make it go like that. Like that. So just to confirm on that, I've got channel point 1 to 6, and these all have the Twitch triggers set up already, which is test 6, and I've added the request to queue as well, just in case it gets double pressed on the 6, it's going to run the command and then activate that button again, because each button has its own queue, but not multi-buttons, so that's what we're creating today. So now we need to start creating the commands for each of these channel points. So we're going to do channel point 1 first, but the first thing we need to do is find out what button ID our queue system is. So right click on that, button ID is 91. Yours will be different depending on how many kind of buttons you've got inside of LioranBoard already, because every new button, it adds 1 on top of that. So I'm going to remember 91, right click on channel point 1, add a command, press the plus, and go to trigger, button, 91, and that is it. That command's done, because when we press that, we want it to activate the queue. So now we need to create some kind of variables or a stack, because that's how the queue system is going to work. So if you don't really know much about stacks, I will be creating more tutorials on individual commands inside of LioranBoard, so definitely say subscribe for that, okay? So I'm going to create a command in here, press the plus, and we're going to add a stack add, because we're going to add this information to a stack. So the stack name, I'll call it queue system. I always like to use underscores on this, and we're going to add it to the top because we want it to be added to the top of the queue. So that'll be basically last. Depending on where we pull the information from, that'll be all apparent later on. The value I'm going to type in here is something that we want to call this. I'm going to call it underscore channel point 1. So that's just to tell me that channel point 1's in the queue. Turn to real is false because I don't want that to be done. But before I trigger this button here, I want the stack add done first. I'm going to move that up a layer. And that's it. That's all ready to go. So just a brief roundup of what's going to happen here. When this channel point 1 is activated, it's going to create, if it's not already created, the queue system stack, and then it's going to add the value queue channel point 1 into that stack. And then it's also going to trigger the button, which is our queue system just here. There is one last thing that you can do in there. If you edit the commands, I always like to add in some comments, so you can always go back and work out what you've created. So if I had a comment line, and I'm going to move this to the top, and then I'm going to put in here, add a channel point 1 to the stack, just there. And I can also copy this comment, paste it in here, and I'm going to put trigger the queue system button, because then it's easy for me to work out what's happened in this command. Just hit done. That's all done. So next up, we're going to edit the queue system because we've created that channel point. So we're going to right click and add some commands to the queue system. I'm going to add a comment in first so I can highlight what we're going to be doing. We're going to be basically checking how many alerts are in the queue. So we'll check how many channel points are in the queue and end if there are 0. So if there's no no alerts or channel points in that queue, we're going to end. So we're going to press the plus sign, and we're going to add a stack. We're going to do a get size, because we're just going to find out how many things are in that stack that we created in channel point 1. So the stack is called queue underscore system. So it's going to check that, and we're going to call this one queue system underscore size. So then we know how many's left. And we're going to add one more to end it. So we're going to type in end if queue system underscore size equals 0. So if there's nothing left in the queue, this will end. That is pretty much the beginning of the queue. We're going to add a comment in now as we move on to the next section. We need to now tell it that we need to keep checking the queue system until all the alerts are complete. So I'm going to type in here, check queue until all channel points are complete. So the way I'm going to do this is add a command in here. I'm going to type in trigger button. And the button that we're going to trigger is the queue system itself. So the queue system is going to keep running and running and running and running until all the queues, everything in the queue is complete. So the button ID is 91, as you can see just there. That is the current button value for this command. So I'm going to type in 91. Queuable is going to be false, and then this hidden delay is how long you want it to kind of keep repeating. If you wanted it to happen instantly every 10 seconds, you just kind of put in 10 or 10 milliseconds or something like that. I'm going to get this going for every kind of 5 seconds. So as this command or something gets activated in a channel point, it'll keep triggering it every 5 seconds until all the alerts are complete. Now I'm going to add another end if just in here. So if I add another end, we're going to end if channel point ongoing to say if it's going equals 1. So if a channel point is going on, then it's going to end. But this trigger button is going to keep playing this every 5 seconds until the channel point is not going anymore, so it can trigger another channel point. Okay, so now you can start seeing how the queue is starting to form. Now we've got the basics in there. We need to add another comment line because we're going to do something else now. We're going to now pull the information from the queue. So we're going to pull channel point redeemable from the stack, because that's the actual queue. And the way we're going to do that is if we add another command, type in stack here, and we can do a stack pull. There are different commands that you can do for stack. As you can see just here, we can add, we can replace, we can pull, we can peek. Peek and pull are pretty much the kind of same, but peeking only takes a little cheeky look, whereas a pull actually removes that information. So we're gonna pull a alert out of the queue, so it's no longer in the queue because we're gonna activate it. So the stack name, if you remember, was queue underscore system, and we're gonna be taking it from position 0, so the one right to first ready to go, which I actually believe is bottom. And the variable that we're gonna call this is current underscore channel underscore point. So as you can see, we're going to pull from the queue system, and that is going to be the current channel point, and it'll be whatever it's going to be, like channel point 1 redeemed or whatever like that. And now, just as a little bit of safety, I'm going to add in another end if. You don't actually really need to do this, but I'm going to put it in there just to make sure as a bit of a fail-safe in case anything goes wrong. So if the current variable, so the current channel point equals 0, then it's going to end. So if it's somehow managed to get to this section without having to pull any information, it's going to end it as well, so it doesn't re-trigger any alerts. Now we can move on to the fun bit and actually add each channel point into the queue. So I'm going to add another comment. Like I say, I'm going to be giving you all these files, so you will be able to look through them yourself as well. So we're going to check if channel point 1 has been redeemed. So what we need to do now is add in a skip command. So basically, if this isn't channel point 1, we don't want it to activate the commands that we're about to do. So the variable, if current channel point, so the current channel point that's been redeemed, equals, doesn't equal string, because if we were to use that would want a number rather than actual letters, etc. So we're going to use doesn't equal string, and if you remember, if we press done, go back to channel point 1, edit command, you'll see queue channel point 1 just there. We're going to copy that and go back into the queue system and paste it in here. So this says if the current channel point doesn't equal queue channel point 1, then it's going to skip this next set of instructions. And those instructions are, we're going to add in just here, we're going to trigger a button. So if you remember, we were creating that kind of funnel system. So if I hit done, when this gets triggered, it goes into the queue system and then triggers this action just here. So I'm going to right click on this and look at the button ID, 93. So I'm going to go into the queue system, edit the commands again, and type in 93. You can leave the other boxes just there, and then we're going to add one last little thing in here to change a variable. So change variable, and we created one a little bit earlier that was a channel point ongoing, and now we're going to tell LioranBoard that a channel point is ongoing. So if you remember right at the top, we created this. If there's a channel point ongoing, it ends here, but this keeps triggering every 5 seconds. So we're going to add these 2 skip steps just in there, press done. Then we just need to add one more thing in. So the channel point 1 action down here, if we right click this and edit commands, it creates that action. But now we need to tell LioranBoard that it's finished doing the action. So if I press the plus sign, and we're going to add change variable. And if you remember, we had the channel point underscore ongoing to say that it's ongoing. We're going to equals 0 because it's finished. Put the delay to however long that is. If you want it to add a little bit of a cooldown, you could add it to 3. So after 3 seconds, it'll say that the alert is complete, which I always like to because it'll give it a little bit of breathing room. We're going to now press done and press done again, and we can now test if this works. So jumping down into channel points, press test 1, redeem, and it activates, deactivates, try it again, activates, and then deactivates. What happens if I use it twice really quickly? You see how it activates again automatically? Because we've started creating that basic queue system. Now we can jump back into LioranBoard, go back into our queue system just here, and we need to do the same thing for every single channel point here. So I'm going to go into this first command. I can just press this little button at the top left just there, press copy all selected, press done, go to channel point 2, add some commands and paste it directly in here. And all we need to do is we can change our note to channel point 2, change this to queue channel point 2 just there. And we're going to be still triggering the same button, which is the queue system there. Do the same for number 3. So change this to channel point 3. 3. Do it for 4. So we're going to add the commands, paste it, type in 4, 4, and so on. Just kind of doing it all with you just here. I was going to skip this out of video, but I feel like I'm going to change my mind. Press add, paste it again, and we'll do this for 6 as well. That's done. Now we need to do the same for the actions. So when all these actions are done, we need to add that channel point ongoing equals 0. So I'm just going to copy this, Again, it depends if you've got different actions. Whereas all mine are the same, they just turn on text sources on and off. Your delays and things are going to be all different. It depends on how long each of your kind of alerts and channel point redeemables last for. So I'm going to hit done and just keep adding that by pressing paste to the bottom of each line. And that means that it'll just tell LioranBoard that each one of these is complete when it's complete. Paste it in there. And now the fun bit, we need to add them all into the queue system. So right click, press edit commands, scroll down to check if channel point 1 has been redeemed. And we're just going to tick these 4 boxes just here. So the comment, this one, and this one. And then we can basically copy all them, paste. And you guessed it, we're going to change this to channel point 2, channel point 2. We're going to trigger a different button though this time, so we need to find out it's not 93, so press done. Channel point 2 is 94. So go back into the queue system, go down here, change 93 to 94. We're going to paste again, this time doing it for channel point 3. Channel point 3, and again it's not 93 on this one, so press done. Check channel point 93, it's actually 96. I'm saying a lot of numbers right now, so go back to edit again, and we're going to change this to 96. Press done. Check what this is, 97. So queue system. Paste once again. Change channel point to 4. Channel point 4. 97. Just there. I'm going to check what 5 is. It's 98. And 6 is 99. So edit. I'm going to paste in again. That's really handy. We're going to do this for 5. 5. 98. Paste again. We're going to do 6. 6. 99. Press done. And then we can always make sure that that's all right. Press done again. And now the queue system should be fully working. So I'm going to start spamming in some of these and you'll see them all pop up differently. So I'm going to do 1, do 2, do 3, do 4, do 5, do 6, do 1. I'll just do random ones now. And as you can see, they're all being activated one after each other. As you can see, just here. So if I press tab now on this main window and type in queue, you can see the queue. If I type in queue underscore system, you can see the channel point there keeps getting removed. And then that is it. That is... Whoa!
But you're rocking for the stone.
That made me rate jump. Jiggly Peach, thank you for the follow. Right, so that brings us to the end of the queue system. It's completely up to you what you do with this queue system. The reason why I do it like that is because it allows you to basically create a queue, and you don't have to add the animations and things like that into the queue. You can add them separately. And did you see how easy it was after we created the first bit of code? It was just copy, paste, just change the numbers, copy, paste, change the numbers. And I find that that is the easiest method to do a queue system. Just takes a little bit of setting up, but that's why I've given you the files and you can download them from my Discord. Again, these videos take me absolutely ages to make, not just to make, but to also kind of create the stuff for you guys as well. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. So if you do want to support the channel, please consider joining Patreon, and you do get early access to all the videos as well. So I think that's it from me. I'm absolutely burnt out on this one, but hopefully you do enjoy it and it makes sense. If it doesn't, or there's anything that I can do easier for you guys, let me know in the comments, okay? Put your rock over the stone. I'll see you in the next one. I just want to say a huge thanks to all my patrons that help make this content full-time, make it free for you guys, and also a huge thanks to all my YouTube members. You guys are legends. Thank you so much for everything that you do for me and the community. Keep it up, guys.